I press record, I start talking, and I don't stop talking until I'm satisfied. There is no script, and the only topic I have right now is the title that I want to give to this audio only stands for a AI generated anime girl PFP that supposedly represents myself is, oh boy, this has been a run-on sentence, the emptiness of all things. Does that sound too edgy for you? People call me edgy sometimes, even my friends. What they don't know is that I'm right for being edgy. The emptiness of all things is a very simple idea. You can say that it's a Buddhist idea, but Buddhism merely describes the way the things are. And this world is simply empty. Have you ever walked around in a city and just tried to comprehend how densely populated that area was, how many people were around you, but how little human activity is really taking place because of the economic conditions and how people are forced into this wage system, forced into this cycle of abuse, and constantly just chasing the next paycheck so that they can eat again, consume the flesh of died creatures. Dying, I almost said dying, and then I came out with died. So there you go. Dead is the word that I was looking for. Dead. I feel really stupid now. But you love it, don't you? Because at least I'm real. When you look out at the night city streets, you get the sense that there's nobody there, but there's so many people. And what are we all doing? We're just cowering in our little caves. Maybe it would be a little bit unusual to expect that at 10 o'clock at night you could go out and find people convening. But it seems as though something was lost. And that maybe, in fact, that's something that we ought to be doing. But we can't. We can't because it doesn't involve the exchange of money. Only that which involves the exchange of money is permitted in this society. Only that which results in money being transferred from those who have less of it to those who have more of it is permitted. And so all things are empty. There's no hope for change. There's no possibility of a different world. For many years I was a very hardcore leftist, and I still am. I feel as though I've become so far left that I don't have any belief that this world will change. Why would I? I need evidence. I'm the kind of person that needs evidence. And I'm the kind of person that believes in history, that believes in, observation, evidence that the way that things have existed is the way that they will continue to exist unless changed by an outside force. But is there any outside force that can change capitalism if we are all subsumed by it? No. There is no outside force that can change this world. We are inside of it with no ability to influence its shape or form. What we are subjects to it, victims of it. There's neither truth nor substance. There's neither freedom or purpose, except for that which we give to ourselves, which is always absurd. These kinds of realizations used to make me feel just in the deepest pit of despair, just depressed in a scope of which I was wanting to not be alive anymore. That has changed. I've come to resign myself to the fact, not the assumption, just the fact, that happiness is not obtainable in this system, in this world, as it has been and as it will continue to be for the length of our lifetimes and more. This does not prevent me from pursuing goals. It does not prevent me from enjoying my little media pieces, whether it be music or video games. It does not stop me from studying every day, and it does not stop me from creating as much as I mentally can output. But it does stop me in my tracks when I see people talk and say things like, "Comrade, you just have to organize and get all your friends together and form a organization and a union that will fight against this." I just look at that kind of thing now and I say, then what? How come you haven't already done it, and has it already worked? Because if that was legitimate advice, then you would have already done it and had results. But you haven't already done it and you don't have results. So how people are out there telling one another that we can fight back against capitalism if you only organize and spread the word, and it's a joke. It's clearly not feasible. It's clearly a cope. Now there's all kinds of copes, and we all have to do copes. But this is the kind of copes where you're accepting of reality and the kind of copes where you're not. I've tried to keep myself only doing copes where I accept reality. For example, I'm a transgender woman. I know that I will never be a woman. I know that the best I can hope for is that people will pretend that I will be a woman, or that I may trick them into assuming that I am one. But I will never be a woman. And it's not, for me, it's not about sexual organs. It's not about genitalia. For me, it's just about the fact that I don't, to myself, look or appear as that which I consider to be one. It's not internalized transphobia. I'm simply trying not to cope in a way that I'm disengaging from reality. I want the truth. The truth is that I am not a real woman. That's fine for the idea that I have some dignity, at least in a societal sense. I don't feel any dignity. But other people can respect me. I understand that. If they do or they don't, I don't really mind. But can I love myself? I can't love the body that I'm in. It's empty. It's empty. The only thing that I can love, the thing that which is me, Jojo, is my spirit, my mind, that which is not physical. This physical body that I inhabit, I don't love it. I can't love it. Because I will never be a woman, which is that which I feel myself that I should be, but am not. This life has always been empty, especially from the age of 10 years old, when I first had this crisis in my life of my parents that were together for the first 10 years of my life separated. And we moved houses, we moved towns. Suddenly weekends were with dad, the week was with mom. New school, new people. I was completely just the rug pulled out from under my legs. And they wanted me to go to therapy. And I knew from the very first day that I was forced to go to therapy that it was an act of my parents trying to get me to take responsibility for their failings. And this was before I had an explicit way of saying out loud that I'm trans, that I'm transgender, or transsexual, as I would really rather call it. But as those years went on, and I finally realized what was happening, things became very empty very quickly, because the only thing that kept me going was the cope, the delusion cope that I would be becoming a woman by transitioning. And believe me, it was the right thing for me to do, was the transition. I think I would be not alive by now if I hadn't, and that's fine if that was the case, because I don't see any value in this life. Again, I'm not trying to be edgy. I'm just saying things the way that I see them when I'm not trying to cope with delusion, but rather, I keep my coping to art, keep my coping to expressing myself or the expressions of others. And this experience of being somebody born in the wrong body, the wrong gender, trying to fix it, realizing as time went on that this couldn't be fixed, it did break me. And I do live my day-to-day life a broken person. I have my wits about me. I have a plan for what to do with the rest of my life, as short or as long as it may be. I have a specific amount of time I'd like to, at maximal, to stay on this planet. But it's not as good of a life as I would have had if I wasn't transgender. And while there's plenty of people that see the world similarly to how I do, and you can find them on YouTube, that aren't transgender, I feel like this condition has just barreled me straight into the heart of that perspective. Obviously, I don't want to have a kid, even if I physically could, because I don't want to bring them into this mess. So all these people that talk about antinatalism, they see eye to eye with me. I see eye to eye with them. People that are talking about being done with relationships. I've been done with relationships for the last 6 years. Let me tell you, that's not coming back. And I resonate with these people as well, because there's a lot of truth to the fact that relationships are just not tenable anymore in the post-pandemic world, in this late capitalist world. We can neither afford financially or emotionally to include another person in our lives without expecting from our experience that it will turn into a negative experience. And I see eye to eye with those people. I see eye to eye with people that just don't want to be alive, don't want to create more life. Those are my people. People that want to be alone. People that want to just deny this world, this life, because it's been so bad. Those are people that I understand. But even in that kind of community, even in the presence of those kind of people, I'm not friends with them. I'm not friends with any of them, because I don't really see the value in even friendship anymore. It's something that it's like, I know that my primitive ape brain craves that social interaction, but more and more as I'm deprived of it, I start to question how or why I need it. I mean, the only connection that's there anymore, and has been there for now 4 years, has been relegated through a computer/phone that delivers either text or occasionally audio messages between people in different parts of the world. So even though I'm deprived of all genuine human connection in the physical world, I've been deprived of that so long that it feels like I don't want it anymore. It's empty. I've even started to just accept that even this digital communication is unnecessary. I like to talk to the people that I've talked to for a certain amount of time in the past, but
there's always this time zone difference where there's a huge chunk of my day where I'm wide awake and every person that I know in the world is either asleep, or for my European friends, they're at work, or actually my European friends tend to be a little bit on the unemployed side, which good for them. You know, yes, slay queen. Oh my god, yes, slay queen. Try to say that like quickly. Yes, slay queen. Yes, slay queen. Yes, slay queen. Okay, I could do it, but only once I was really thinking about it. I'm tripping up on my words. Yes, slay queen. Be unemployed and in Europe. I support that. My American friends, they're either working or, I don't know, living with their parents pretty much. And again, I support that as well. I support whatever you have to do to not engage with this world and to do as little as possible is based. I'm with it. I'm for it. But all that said, I just don't really like people. There's maybe half a dozen people that I like in the entire world. And I have to spend the better part of my life, and by that I mean 98% of my life, not engaged in communicating with them. And so what do is I put out creative work. I make little pixel drawings and I make little do music sounds. And I hope that these things will give other people some sense that I was here and that I mattered, even though I don't feel as though I did. That I hope that it will give people the sense that my life had value, even though that I don't believe it does. That I hope that it will give other people the sense that this life isn't so bad, and that I made this world a better place with it, with that art. But that's all dust in the wind. That's all ashes to dust. I still try. And I don't actually have a history of exactly explaining to anybody about what my existence means, because I have an exact grip on why I'm here and what my purpose is and what I'm going to do. Regardless of how empty or meaningless I feel it to be, I do it anyway in an absurd defiance, in an ubermensch focus on my will to existence or will to power, whatever you call it, pulling out all the different philosophical ideas. And that guy that just went by on his silly little motorcycle, his like big boy bicycle, just, his purpose is to be loud and annoying so that other people know that he's there. And are we so different? Oh yeah, I'm way better than that guy. Screw him. Jeez, I hate motorcyclists. And all of this is just thoughts off the top of my head. I'm here studying, doing whatever I can fit into my day with the brain energy that I have and the time that I have.
And as I go through this world, as I walk around, as I look around, I just feel so unneeded. I just feel so unwanted and unnecessary.
How do I find the motivation, the energy, the will to do anything feeling this way? And I don't know. Sometimes it feels like the only thing that keeps me going is spite. And it's a real capital S spite. I feel as though I hate the human race, that I hate being alive in this world. And that the only things that keep me from ceasing this episode, the simulation, is I don't like pain. I don't like extreme amounts of pain, even for a brief period. I would like to find a way to circumvent that, but also the other thing, which is spite, that I feel is some of the things that I might still do might make somebody else really mad. It might feel like some kind of sweet revenge. Everything just feels like, yeah, maybe this will be some kind of sweet revenge. Like when I play my silly video game, like my Super Smash Brothers, right? I feel like, yeah, like winning this game is like a way to spite somebody else. Or when I make art, I feel like I'm spiting the people that told me that I'm useless, or that I can't do anything, or that all I'm supposed to do is, I don't know, like work as a phone call answerer at Paper Corp. I don't know, some ridiculous. Like I was even looking through vocational schools to continue at today, and all these different schools around me that just cater to like the most soulless occupations, like information systems. Like, bro, information systems. If you have to study information systems because you want to get a job in information systems, like we're not the same species. What are you even doing? It's like, oh, I'm entering numbers into a spreadsheet. Okay, but do you not see how you don't need to go to school for that, and how a computer can do that, and how nobody actually needs that to be done? It's fake work for fake people. Show me the schools that are teaching people how to build communities. Show me the schools for people that are teaching them how to overcome trauma. Show me the schools for people that are teaching you how to become self-sufficient with agriculture and starting your own business at home, where you do what you want to do and you don't take anything into your life that doesn't give you joy. Where are the schools for that? Where are the schools where you can go and be taught how to be happy? How to be a success doing what you want to do, the way that you want to do it, when you want to do it, as much as you want to do it, or as little as you don't want to do it. That's a school that I'd like to go to. That's a little 2-year program. I'll sign me up for the 2-year program, that when I come out of it, I'll have finished making like a beta version of my own video game. I'll have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'll be getting gigs doing voice acting, like things that I want to do. Show me a school that will teach me to be well rounded and allow me to dip my toes into whatever different kind of work I'd like to dabble in, because trying to put all your eggs in one basket in this very same system that is predicated on people being replaceable, predicated on the reduction of labor costs to maximize profits and therefore job stability, is not part of the plan. Like, what are we doing by encouraging people to pursue a career when a career is actively escaping from people, when the career is actively running away so that it can be replaced by AI, so that it can be just, well, I mean, we don't need 3 people to do this job when we can make one person do the job of 3 people for the same pay. And you're gonna get into debt, pay astronomical amounts of money for a certificate that claims that you and only people with this piece of paper are qualified to do this menial work. Because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that are going to college, like 4-year programs, to end up doing Excel spreadsheets, to end up typing in Microsoft Word, things that I could do when I was 3 to 5 years old. People that are going to jobs so that they can write code that ChatGPT can do better. People that are going to these programs to learn how to get into careers where they fix computers that just have a virus on them. at a corporation. People that just literally do whatever is called for at any moment, but none of it has any bearing on what they studied. None of it has any joy in it, but it needs to be done by somebody. It just sounds so ridiculous. And what really is getting to me is just this presupposition that for me or for anybody else, that we're supposed to just accept it and say, well, it's selfish of you to want to be an artist. It's selfish of you to want to make a video game. It's selfish of you to want to be an actor or a painter. It's selfish of you to want to be an athlete. It's selfish of you to want to live by yourself off grid with a farm and a bunch of animals. Like huh? How is any of that unrealistic? How is any of that selfish? It's absurd how our values have been inverted. It's absurd how much we've been taught that our instincts of what we want are actually not good for us. But at the same time, everything around us that we're encouraged through advertising and through this school system and through parents and peers to pursue and to accept is all toxic for us. Toxic relationships, toxic food, toxic water, toxic air, toxic environment, even just the buildings around you and the way that like urbanization just kind of rejects human community. Toxic work structures, toxic hierarchies, toxic education, empty, 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 emptiness, emptiness. Empty, empty, empty. Toxic everything. Empty everything. We are surrounded by failure. Well, every time we have some of these naturally occurring problems with these failures that abound in every direction surrounding us, people will always just say, well, there's something wrong with you. That something is your fault. You're broken. You have a failing in you because you don't accept this sick society. I don't think that there's something wrong with you or me. I don't think that there's anything wrong with you or me. I'm pretty sure that we've been duped. We've been had, boys and girls. We've been had, and we should be mad. I can't even feel anger. But maybe I don't need to have just a time to feel angry and a time to feel sad and a time to feel happy. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe I should just feel whatever it is that I feel without trying to influence it, without accepting outside influence. And right now I just feel I look down on all of this. I'm disappointed. This doesn't feel like frustration. This doesn't feel like anger. This doesn't feel like hatred. This doesn't feel like sadness. This doesn't feel like regret. It feels like, what a shame. It feels like, what a shame and what a disappointment that this human civilization has tried to pull the wool over my eyes and has successfully been able to convince other people that because I can see that there's something wrong with me, they know that I'm right. They know that I'm seeing. And what they have very cleverly done is conditioned people to treat those who can see as monsters, as crazy, as stupid, as conspiracy theorists. And I only believe in the one conspiracy, and that's the conspiracy that is proven to exist, which is the conspiracy of capital, baby. The conspiracy of the rich, the owning class, profiting off of everything that happens under the sun and under the moon. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about what's happening here. And there's no doubt that nothing can be done individually by us. And they've been so good about keeping us separate so that we can't work together. We can want to work together, we can talk about working together, but actually doing it is now impossible. We are sinking in the whirlpool, separate whirlpools, in opposite oceans, by ourselves, drowning. But that's okay. That's okay. All of this is fine. And as you picture the dog in the burning room with the little hat on saying, "This is fine," that's what I really feel. This is fine. Because I don't feel as though I've been defeated. And if I were to feel as though I'm defeated by this civilization, taking myself out of all of this would not be a negative outcome ultimately. Because as bad as civilization is, even in a perfect society, it would still be a negative experience to exist. When you realize that even in a perfect world, those who are truly conscious and awakened will not want to be in it, and will only exist out of spite, will only exist for their own lifetime and not create more. Ideally, to shorten the time which we do have individually. When you realize that even in that perfect utopia, you would still feel the same way, like, I don't want to be here. Something happens and you realize this is fine. It's fine that civilization is a failure. Whether it's because you extrapolate from that, well, if civilization is such a failure, then I can't possibly be a bigger failure or even any kind of failure compared to civilization, which is true. But there's something deeper. There's something deeper than that. It's not simply that because civilization is a failure, that it's okay for you to be you. It's more that regardless of whether civilization is good or bad, existence being the inescapably negative thing, inherently, inescapably negative thing that existence is, being so much that it is, in this reality, in such a way that this is the case, our emotions are empty. Our feelings of grief, our feelings of disappointment, of envy, of lack, of pain, of joy are empty. Because if any of our emotions were completely inverted, if this is the happiest day of your life, if this is the worst day of your life, if you are shot dead, or if you're getting it on, the result is the same. Nothing. Empty. Emptiness. Pure. Absolute futility. Abject absurdity. And being so that it is the case, being so that it is true, that regardless of the state, regardless of the degree of any quality and qualification, of any qualitative value, that any such thing, whether self or not self, is good or bad, regardless of any such calculations, in a personal way, for all living things, for all sentient, especially living things, existence is something that we should not have, do not want, will be relieved of, and will have nothing for which to mourn, nothing that we shall miss, nothing that we will regret in the end, nothing left that we must do. Being so that it is the case that we are guaranteed the complete and total freedom of the hereafter in all of its pure, beautiful emptiness. Are we to be upset? Are we to complain? If you feel what I feel, go with grief if you must. Go with spite if you must. Go with anger, with envy, with self-pity if you must. But remember, realize this. If every condition in your life was inverted, the outcome would remain the same. And if you value these little qualities within the blink of our existence, whether you really feel as though it matters, whether you're a billionaire or homeless, of course you would feel that way. Of course you're valid for feeling that way. But even if those things are inverted completely, always remember, the only truth is emptiness. There is no quality of being, no state, no person, event, or idea that holds any value, any intrinsic meaning. We are all beautifully condemned to the freedom of emptiness that awaits us all. That we know now, for those who understand these things, for those who can understand the futility of all of this, you understand even the now we are in the emptiness. We suffer in our pitiful bodies. We suffer in our hunger, in our tiredness. We suffer in our loneliness. We suffer in our effort, in our thwarted plans. But regardless of everything was a triumph, regardless of if every need was met, regardless if every want was satisfied, only so much more will we begin to look at that final transition to emptiness with more and more disdain, more and more fear. Can you find the profit within yourself to realize that you've lost the fear of death, that you've lost the anger and the sadness of the idea of your life coming to an end because of what you've lived through? Can you not see the profit that, while most go through this world and feel, well, everything that's happening to me is all right, it's good, it's great, etc., whatever the case might have been, but oh, how terrible it is that this life shall come to an end, when there would always be more that I would like to do. But for us, because of that which we have suffered from, has brought us to this place where we can really look at that ending and say, well, bring it on. Bring it as quickly as possible. Do you not see the profit in that? Go. Go with your fearlessness. Go with the emptiness. Being neither influencing nor fearing that which surely will come until you have spent your effort in whatever it might be that you please. And by God, do what you please. Don't make any excuses about what other people think, what other people want. If what you would like to do in this life would make other people unhappy in some way, I still believe you have a moral obligation to do it. Because ethics has failed you, morality has failed you. Just be selfish. Go with your anger. Go with your weapon, your will. And always remember the profit that comes from just being ready. Be always ready for the emptiness, because that is all there is. Except for this illusion. Whether you can enjoy this illusion or not, try your best. I'm trying my best. And to be honest, I think I'm having fun. So, try to have fun. Try to have fun with this mess. See ya.